morning. Yes, it is Monday morning, and as you can see, Morning Brew is a few minutes late, but for a good reason. So, welcome to Morning Brew with Yes, it's your girl Germaine, and I am so happy to be here with you all. So, let me know what you're drinking today. I've been doing this blend of cappuccino and hot chocolate. It's probably going to show around the waist. It is. But I'm trying to wean myself off, just to start purging and cleansing, for a moment. The summertime is coming. So, well, listen, today on Morning Brew with Germaine, we're bringing in a new segment. It's not really a new segment because we've been doing our Blacks in fact. We've been doing that every day pretty much. But on Mondays, we're going to bring in our resident guest who specializes in what? Blacks in Facts. The Blacks in, which is the creator, Theresa Merritt-Watson. So she has a segment on Mondays within our show. So we'll get to her a little bit later so we could talk about the Blacks in Fact for the day and then get her insight on some things, okay? But in the meantime, while we're here, if you are chiming in, let me know what you're drinking. Hey, let me know where you're chiming in from. But in the meantime, let's get into today's brew. Today's brew is, what are you carrying that no one sees? Ooh, we're going to take a deep breath on that one. We're going to take a minute and we're going to pause so we can pour into purpose. What are you carrying that no one sees? All right. So in today's world, everyone is posting, producing, pushing through, but very few people are pausing to acknowledge what they're actually carrying. Behind the smiles, the content, the responsibilities, there are silent weights that people are carrying. Financial pressures, emotional exhaustion, family responsibilities, career uncertainties, healing from things no one even knows happened. And yet, we still show up. We still show up. The conversations create space for what often goes unspoken. So, do you find yourself in any one of those categories, but you still show up? Let me just repeat them again, okay? So, behind the smiles, the content, the responsibilities, people are dealing with silent weights, financial pressures, emotional exhaustion, family responsibilities, career uncertainties, healing from things no one even knows happened. Today's it could feel a little heavy because it's shining a light on the things we probably don't want to address, right? The things we don't want to put out in the forefront, the things that we carry every single day of our life in silence. And we're so weighed down in just trying to figure out how to get on the other side of it all in a lot of cases. So today we're going to kind of dive a little more, or pour a little more into purpose, centered around this topic. What are you carrying that no one sees? It might be a little heavy for some that are watching, but I hope something today in this message resonates with you. I hope it does, because there's nothing like being liberated and free. And let me tell you, we all are dealing with something. And for those that are not, then you know what? You should chime in and let us know what are some strategies that you may be using to overcome the things that may have been weight on you. But when I think about this also, I think about why our stories are so powerful. And if you are familiar with Morning Brew with Germaine, you know that we center this around the power of our stories. And so When I think about these things that I just mentioned, financial pressures, emotional exhaustion, family responsibilities, career uncertainties, healing from things no one knows even happen. When I think about these things, it really all helps to shape what that story is. Whether you're in the midst of it, whether you're just entering into these things, whether you've come out on the other side and now you have a testimony to share, it's all a part of structuring your story. These are the things you're encountering on your journey. And I know sometimes you just want to figure it all out. I need a solution. I need to know how to come through whatever it is you may be dealing with, right? And sometimes it's best to talk through with somebody you can confide and trust in, or just find a therapist possibly that you feel comfortable with, really being able to release the burdens that or the weights that you carry to really try to figure it out. But listen, we all need an out. We carrying certain things, especially things that hold so much weight, is only going to show up in other ways. And the sad thing is, it may show up and affect those that are near and dear to you, that you love dearly the most, that they may get the brunt of it and have no idea what you're dealing with, not even know how to help you with it. So, seek out somebody that you can release this. You should not carry this type of burden. In a greater person or a greater way to release it is lay it at God's feet. Give it to God and let him know. Because you can speak it out loud to him. You can give it to him to carry the burden, to make it lighter for you. You can know that whatever you give him, it will be between you and him. Right? But sometimes God will put people in your life that you can confide in, that you trust, to be able to really help you manage through some of these things that you are carrying. So, all right, guys, let's get a little bit into our Pour Into Purpose segment, because I don't want to hold you long, but I definitely want to get to our new segment, okay? So, in Pour Into Purpose, in this segment, not everything you carry is visible. Not everything you carry is visible. Strength doesn't always look like strong. It doesn't always look strong, strength. Just because no one sees it doesn't mean it's not real. Ooh, and some of your heaviest battles are internal. Hello, Sandy, over on Facebook. Yes, Sandy, I did. I had a wonderful birthday. Thanks to you and everyone else that poured out so much love and showed up with just genuine messages and kindness and love and support. It was overwhelming, but I took it all in. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so today we're talking about, what are you carrying that no one sees? What are you carrying that no one sees? All right, so let's get into this. So let's talk about high functioning doesn't mean you're okay. Guys, some things can be, deceiving. And just because you see someone constantly going, doesn't necessarily mean that they're in a good, healthy space. Sometimes people can just be covering up what they're dealing with, masking it, the pain, so they don't have to take it on. They don't have to deal with it. And the way it may show up in the world, right? Like someone may have it all together, they're doing their thing, and internally, in silence, they're crashing. And so high functioning doesn't always mean you're okay. You can be productive and still be overwhelmed. Yes, I can attest to that. Planning and structure, I am learning, is so key. It is so key. Having a good plan, being structured, but understand plans can be altered and switched up, and you have to be ready to adapt to change. So being really clear on that. But I'm finding that structure is so helpful. It is. Showing up doesn't mean you're not struggling. Let's be real. The struggle sometimes is real. It is day to day. You know, you never know who is really going through some things. I don't care how they may package themselves, walk out in the world, you can never judge someone based on what you think, the way they look, what they may have, what you can never judge someone because really, do you really know what might be going on with that individual? You don't know. So we got to be mindful not to be so quick to judge as if somebody has it all together. They don't need help. They're good. You got to be mindful. Sometimes just saying, "How are you today?" can cause somebody to just really break and find comfort in being able to share something with you. Genuinely, not just in passing, but genuinely, like a heart matter issue. This is a heart issue. How are you really doing? So it's good to check in on your people. Check in on your people, those that are close to you, maybe those that are in the workplace with you. Just don't assume because they look all put together that it's all put together. It may not be. Okay. All right. So showing up doesn't mean, like I said, you're not struggling. Survival mode can look like success on the outside. Survival mode can look like success on the outside, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's successful that's taking place on the inside, right? So be mindful, be considerate, be compassionate. Don't just judge someone by what they drive, what they wear, where they work, and all this stuff. People are dealing with some real life issues, some real stuff, but they still got to keep it together. That's the thing, right? They still got to keep it together. But it's okay. Sometimes it's okay to just release all that off you. Find your people, find your person, find your therapist, find whoever it is that you know is a safe space for you to just let it go, right? I don't know who this message may apply to. I don't know. I'm just picking out some parts of this message apply to me, right? Because I always say I'm first partaker in my own messages, right? But I don't know who this message is for. It's just heavy on my heart today to be able to share this. What are you carrying that no one sees? What are you carrying that no one sees? All right, so you don't have to carry it alone. That's why community is so important. Safe spaces matter. Your story deserves to be expressed, not suppressed. So I find journaling. Get a journal and start writing your thoughts out, your emotional thoughts, how you're feeling. Even if you start with just yourself before you feel like it's safe for you to be able to expose and share that, which is that very thing that you're carrying. So, journaling is good. All right, guys. Well, this is the time that I want to be able to introduce. Before I get into that, I just want to say this message, as I was saying, what we're talking about, dealing with, being able to pour into purpose. And I hope some of these points resonated with you, but really find that safe space. Even if you start within oneself to be able to speak to oneself, it's important. Hear it, hear the very thing that you're going through. Even if you have to record yourself and play it back to yourself so you can hear your innermost thoughts. One is safe because it's with yourself, but that's a starting place before you find that it's okay for me to sit with someone. Let me tell you, people that are carrying some weighty stuff, they find sometimes it may be easier just to end it all. And that's not the answer. Do not be robbed of what your purpose and destiny is. And you just have to get to a place of knowing how to unlock it. Okay. So when you're in the space that you are purposed and destined to be in, things will just flourish for you. But give yourself the opportunity. So if nothing else, have a conversation with yourself. Play it back. Say it out loud, record it if you need to, write it if you need to, so you can hear it back, one message to another, you to yourself. Okay? All right. So, whew, I don't know why I'm in this place today, but at this point, I do want to introduce our new segment. I want to introduce our new segment. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. This is our Blacks in Fact with Theresa Merritt-Watson. And so I'm going to bring her into the studio and we're going to focus on our Blacks in Fact, having her live in studio on Mondays with us for this segment in Morning Brew with Germaine. And as you know, every day, Monday through Fridays, we like to introduce a Blacks in Fact, which we partnered up. So instead of me reinventing the wheel, I just said, hey, why don't we incorporate and bring Blacks into Morning Brew as a segment, whereas we can educate those on we the people. Yes, Black people I'm talking about. Okay. But nevertheless, let me bring her up in the studio. Let me just make sure we are all set. So let me see. I want to make sure I see her in my studio so I can bring her up in the studio. And then we can, let me see. Theresa, are you there? Let's see. All right, so give me a second. I'm just getting her aligned in our studio. All right, so we can bring her up in the studio. And then we can talk about it. We can talk about the Blacks in Fact. So while I'm waiting for her to come up in the studio for this segment, let me ask you two questions. This is our, you know how I like to. Okay, hold on. She just popped in. So let's do this. Let's bring on for our Blacks in Fact with Theresa Merritt-Watson. Yes, we are bringing her up. So, hey, Theresa, how are you? Wait, we got her on mute, so let's unmute her. Let me unmute her. Hold on. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning? I'm so happy to be here this morning.
Listen, I'm so happy to have you in because the power of what you've created in Blacks In, you know, I'm so glad you decided to allow us to team up so we can bring it to Morning Brew. And so, as you know,
Well,
we try
thank
to
you.
bring a Blacks in Fact every day.
Yeah.
So, but this is what I want to do because I know this is something new. So Monday you decided you're going to come on for a Blacks in Fact moment with us in our segment. And we're going to talk about the Blacks in of the day. But I really want to know the vision. It is so powerful. And I know if anybody knows you, they know your passion for our people. And if they don't, they will find out on Morning Brew. So let's just give them a little insight before we go into our actual fact for the day. So, Blackson, what was the motivation behind creating this so you can share with so many people?
Well, the motivation for me is that I saw that a lot of African Americans did not know the history. And I think you need to know where you come, to get a smooth sailing to where you want to go, you got to know where you come from. And also the educational system that we have. We have our kids, they'll go to school, kindergarten, first grade, third grade, and they see George Washington, Lincoln, and all those people. And I was trying to figure out what's going on that our kids are missing the boat in the educational sector. What happens is that for many years, for 3 years at least, our kids are getting the facts about George Washington, Lincoln, and all that. And what's happening, you're molding the kids, particularly the African American kid, to see greatness in whiteness because they don't see their people. They see them in March, Martin Luther King. Every kid know that he was a civil rights leader. There was so much more to him. And so I started thinking that if I only saw, if I only heard the greatness of George Washington, of Lincoln, of Hoover, and by the way, every single one of those men have a lot of baggage, negative baggage. They all if they didn't own slave, they didn't like black people, especially Hoover. And so
Mhm.
our kids spent their first 3 or 4 years, African American kids, learning about the greatness of whiteness. And so what happened, you see our kids going on and they don't, by the time you get to third grade, you're really shaped because you're about 10. And so that's what gave me the idea that maybe I just need to write some books that is for first and third grade, but also for their parents as well. So that's how I end up with Black Sin. And
Wow.
I just think that there's so much more that our black kids can do, and we need to change the mindset and get back as a unit, because we were unified people, and we can do that if we know who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to say good morning, Coach Kathleen over on YouTube. Thanks for chiming in to the conversation. The one thing I can definitely say is when you came to me and we published your book, and I just want to grab, I think I have it right here. I do want to grab Tech. Black Tech, this was birthed out before the Blacks In movement. I'm gonna call it a movement because it's definitely that, and it is showing itself in so many different ways across all social media platforms. So Black Tech you designed, and it was still centered around the same thing, being able to educate our children, but not just our children, educating even us as adults, because every Blacks In that you show, and what I'm going to do is just kind of give a highlight because I want people to begin to follow you so they can get their Blacks In tips, not just through Morning Brew, but every day it can pop right up into their devices through social media platforms. So we're definitely going to share your information. Um, but I want to say thank you so much for having such a passion and a heart for wanting to educate our young black children as well as our adults.
Yeah.
And you know what's so interesting? Because it's not just us as a people, everybody's gravitating to these.
Well, I'll tell you that I did do a workshop for people 55 to 85. It was 100 people in the room, and not one person knew anybody that was in Black Tech. One lady raised her hand and thought she knew, I think it was Lewis Latimer, but it wasn't, the right information. But I'm saying older people do need to know it so they can pass it on to their kids. This is very important for us to know who we are. And especially now that they're trying to erase our history.
Mm, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even when you think about the education system right now, if you have young children in there, you can't rely on the system to teach your children about our history. That's why it's so important. And that's why I said, for your vision, and then teaming up with Gerard Harmon and the two of you guys being able to come up, it is incredible the work that you guys are putting out there. And that's why I said, why reinvent the wheel? When I going through Black History Month, it just really hit me. Why do we limit ourselves to the shortest month of the year just because they say it's Black History Month and not continue on? And so I made a conscious decision to continue on. And then I said, light bulb moment, wait a minute. Theresa Merritt-Watson is a part of the HOV family, right? She is literally putting out this type of content. Why not bring her on and let her speak in an area that she specializes in? So here we are.
Well, the other thing that Gerard and I worked on is we wanted people, all businesses and organizations, to take 5 to 15 seconds before every meeting and give a black fact. So that's
Yes.
how we came up with the calendar. It's 10 people on the side. They don't even have to think about it. And they can just select from one and make 10 to a 5 to 15 second announcement. It gives people the idea and the notion of the greatness of Black people. You don't know how great we are. We've done some phenomenal things. I mean, it's just outstanding. Every time I'm learning, every time I'm reading new stuff, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. You know,
Exactly.
so,
Well,
it's
that's good because you're still the student as well as the teacher. You're still a student gathering data and information. It never ends. It never ends. You mentioned something, so I definitely want to show it, and I'm going to put it in the comments as well. This is our Blacks In calendar that I keep in the background of my show. And what you were talking, let me just show the back of it also. These are available, and I encourage every single one of us, if you don't have it, to get a copy of it. So this is the month of April, and it's so beautiful, the work, the artwork. But what I love, because what I had started doing was just going right to the calendar, and I was pulling in the facts that you guys had put alongside to be able to give us more information about Blacks In.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. So, like you're saying to everyone, then you decided for organizations, incorporate this in. They don't have to do any heavy lifting. They don't have to go out and figure it out. It's already figured out for you. You just have to release the information. Now, how can someone listening, Theresa, get on that list to be able to do that?
Well, you can go to blacks, BLACKS -IN.com, and you can.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I'm kind of getting ahead of us. We're going to be bringing that up in a moment. But I do want to capture the website. I'm going to add it into the comments because I want people to be able to join and get it anytime they want, share the information with others, make it a part of their dailies. So, and they can also purchase the calendar here too on Blacks In, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So hold on. Let's make that. I'm putting it in the comments now. And they can go over there and they can sign up also if they want to be able to get this information through your different social media platforms, or definitely sign up, get directly in contact with you so they can make it a part of their organizations.
Yes.
Okay. So we are putting it in the thread right now. And hold on, let me share that. That's in the comments. I'm going to share it over. Hi, Gabad. I'm so bad with names, forgive me. But thank you for joining over on Instagram. So I'm going to share this information over there for Blacks In. So, okay. All right. So it's there for people to get it. And also make sure you get your calendar. If you have not gotten your calendar already, it's never too late. Listen, we still have the rest of 2026, but this calendar, it's something you just want to learn from. You
Yeah.
just want to learn from it. I'm so glad you decided to do this.
Well, I'm excited. I'm actually working on next year.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Annual, which means all new people. All
All,
new people will be joining the calendar.
but
So go
yes,
ahead.
the
I'm pulling.
Black history is really important for all of us to learn, and I'm working hard at making sure that we get that information.
Definitely. That you are definitely doing. You are such an inspiration, I tell you, because listen, you are one that do not slow down. You're like the Energizer Bunny. Just go, 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 get in your car and be out. Wherever it is required for you to be, you are there spreading the message.
Yes.
So
I
let me,
go ahead.
yeah. I want to pull up also, I want to pull up today's Blacks In Fact, but with that, I also want to share a snapshot of your Instagram page So people can see right now, they can go back in through the archives and they can get so many different Black Sin facts. It's already there. And the thing is, you know what? You can even share it with others right from there. So share it. Share the information. We want you to. We want you to share the information. Yes. All right. So this is what let's get into the Black Sin fact for the day. Now, because I couldn't pull this up like I wanted to, let me try. Guys, bear with me. I'm going to try to bring the video right in the screen. If not, I'm just going to share the screen and we're going to play the Blacks in Fact for the day, which is going to be Matthew Henson. But give me a moment. Let's see if we could just pull the video. I've been trying to. I have. Let's see. Let's see if it works. If it works, it's going to just pop right up on the screen. If it works, it's not going to work for some reason, the format. But nevertheless, we're going to pull it up on the screen. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to pull up the Blacks in Fact. I already have it queued up. And so let's see. All right. I am sharing the screen and it's going to populate now. The Blacks in Fact. Let's start.
Today on Blacks In, we honor Matthew Alexander Henson, who reached the North Pole on April 6, 1909. An African-American explorer.
It's not showing. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. I'm sorry. Listen, technical difficulties. I'm human. We're figuring it all out. But hold on, because I do not want to rob you of this moment. I want to make sure that you are able to get the full. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. Give me a second.
Today on Blacks In, we honor Matthew Alexander Henson, who reached the North Pole on April 6, 1909. An African-American explorer whose strength, intelligence, and resilience helped lead one of the most dangerous expeditions in history. Henson was not just a team member. He was the pathfinder, mastering the Arctic terrain, guiding the sleds, and surviving conditions most could not endure. Many historians believe he was actually the first to stand at the North Pole, a powerful truth that went unrecognized for decades. His legacy proves that Black excellence has always been present at the highest levels of discovery and achievement. See you next time on Blacks In.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well,
definitely, I'm going to say this. Huh?
He was an outstanding man. And one of the things that his parents died, and he was raised by his uncle in Charles County, Maryland. And so as he got older, I think he was probably about 16 or so, he moved to Baltimore and he started working on a ship, navigating that. And keep in mind, he's in Charles County, so he did a lot of fishing as a kid. And he was such an interesting man. And so he did get a job in an office, and it just bored him to death. So, just reading about him, you could just see yourself as a little kid and the energy that he had. But he was very, very curious because one of the navigators took him under the wing. He learned how to pilot a ship. He learned how he went, and he knew how to do the sled dog. He was just a curious man. And his uncle, when he left his uncle in Charles County and went to a few places and did a few jobs, but this was something that he just absolutely loved. And one time he almost died and said he would never going back again. And as soon as he got well, he forgot the words came out his mouth. And he went so, and as it says, many people say he was the first, but they give him credit as a and that's what happens to a lot of us. So we
talk about it.
Yeah. So he was a wonderful, wonderful explorer.
will we ever really truly get the credit that we deserve. That's why it's so important for having spaces like this of really gaining the knowledge, because this was definitely one of those Black Sin facts that taught me something new today, introduced me to someone new that I never even knew made this contribution. So that's why I'm telling you, that's why it is so important to be knowledgeable of who we are. It really will show us our power.
Yeah,
So
I think that the question that you asked, will we ever, that I do believe might not be during my lifetime, but I do believe if we can unify as a group of people, these things, not just us, but everybody else will know. But we have to do it, and we have to unify better than what we are right now.
absolutely.
And that's what, so a little here, a little there, it just never worked. We got to be back to where we were.
Absolutely. This is what I want to do also while I have you. And I know this is our first live segment of you coming in, really talking about Black Sin and your passion behind it. What I want to do in this segment, I want to just showcase do a screenshot of your Instagram page so people can really get an idea is that you all are really doing this, okay? Every single day, it's available for you to start your day off with this. So let me just share this really quickly. I mean, sometimes it just leaves you speechless. So we just talked about Matthew Henson. Yesterday was the Black Tuskegee Airmen. It was Easter Sunday. He is risen. So I just want to scroll down because this is literally the feed that we will be introducing in alignment with your Blacks in every single day on Morning Brew. Just sharing this quick segment so people can also gain information and knowledge. Okay. So I just want to scroll down so people can see that you've been doing this. You guys have been up to something for a while. You all catching this? This is Instagram. You can go right in. I'm going to put her Instagram link, so you can go and join and get your own personal daily dose of Black Sin. Just absolutely beautiful. Look at all. Listen, I'm not even at the bottom yet. Every single day, you can learn a Black history, a Black Sin fact. Every single day. Wow. 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 I love it. Please make sure you get your calendars, guys. The link is in the comments. Look at this. Oh, guys, we are some powerful people. Okay. All right. Yes, and there's more. So, all right. I just really wanted people to see the power of the information that you are putting forth. And you're looking to help team up with people just like myself to be able to spread and share this information. You guys have already done the heavy lifting. I don't have to create anything. I just need to incorporate it. And so you're making that available for others to do the same thing.
Yes,
Wow.
It's really important that our businesses, our corporation, our nonprofit, particular to me, the Black businesses, the National Organization of, is it National Organization? Well, the Negro Women and NAACP, the Urban League, all these organizations, empowerment, when they have a meeting, just make sure your people know something. You go into businesses and you don't see people acknowledging their Blackness. But, we could talk about other people. We got to start seeing that what we do is important.
Absolutely. And it's right there. I'm adding this, I'm sharing this in the comment section. This is your Instagram. Literally just click on it so you can actually just click the link. I copied the link right from the address bar So all you have to do is click on it so you can now be well informed. Well informed. You go, girl. Listen, you go, girl.
Yeah,
I love it.
I enjoy it. I enjoy speaking about it. I enjoy opportunities to speak about it because it brings me joy.
It
You know,
does.
yeah, it does.
I see you lighting up right now as you're talking about it.
Yes.
Well, let's do this. Let's get ready. We put the information out there. The Black Sin calendar, Coach Kathleen, excellent. Thank you. This also, let me put it up on the screen, because we get comments in. Let me share with everybody. Excellent. Thank you. This also true. And thank you for this ministry of Black education. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't think about it, but this is definitely a ministry. It's like sharing the information. Yes, definitely. Thank you for that, Coach Kathleen.
Well, I will say, now that you talk about ministry, I had contacted the African American churches to see if they can either do 5 to 15 seconds, or either put it in their every Sunday, put the Black fact in their announcement. That's with the calendar. Use one
Mhm.
from the calendar, because I think, regardless of whether we have low kids participation, the adults also need it. And so that was
Absolutely.
another avenue that we tackled, other than just the businesses, and it's all businesses. So
You just said something and it just hit me that, it's easy to package it to say the kids need it. We need it more than the kids sometimes.
well, we need it just to be able to pass it on to our kids. If we don't, it's
Absolutely.
hard to pass this stuff on, because it is not stuff that they're going to really get in school. I just, in my mind, I had an audience, and I said, close your eyes and take yourself back to kindergarten to third grade. Just remember those grades, and tell me, who did you learn? And when they start, telling me the people, you hear Rosa Parks and, Marla, about 4 Black people, but then they learn about all these other people. And I think, I don't remember my psych classes, but if you want to condition a person, you just keep repeating and repeating and
Ah,
repeating. And then they see the greatness in that person. But if you don't want them to see the greatness in a person, you don't say anything about it. So you're not saying don't learn about Black people. You're just not saying anything, you know.
mhm.
So, and I think that when we start really making sure our kids leave home with a certain amount of security, we are just in a much better position, you know.
Yeah. You said something that right now we're seeing it even today, that when you find yourself being repetitive and repeating something over and over and over again, people start to believe it, and so people are weaponizing that. Think about our government, right?
Oh,
so so
absolutely.
so what it shows me is that it works.
Yes.
So the key is, everybody start sharing the Black Sin information so that we can continually repeat it, and allow people to see our greatness. Whereas it's just popping up and showing up. And when I say all across all your social media platforms, which is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I mean, the numbers are just growing and people are sharing because it's some powerful information, which lets us know that people are learning something new about we as a people. Share the information, let it become repetitive, let it get to the point that people are tired of seeing it. That's a good thing.
Well, I want to say this quickly. I went to a school. I was reading and giving a synopsis of Black issues, yes. And so I had a group of kids in the class, fourth and fifth graders, and I told them, so when you want to do the GPS, just call it Gladys West. And I want them to start naming the items that of the inventors, even the music, different art. And so when I see the kid, they'll come back. I use Gladys West today. I'm like, oh my goodness, so and it's
That's
really
good.
refreshing. Yes,
It's letting you know they're getting it. They're
they're
getting
getting.
it. So there has to be more conversation around it.
The one is like, I like ice cream. Ice cream doesn't like me, but uh, it's like I got some ice cream from Frederick Jones. I was like, I would just, 'cause kids really do tickle me when you tell them something and they use it, and I thought, okay, I'm
You
good.
know what's so interesting? They do pay attention.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
they are paying attention. Now they can go take that home and teach their parents, their siblings,
yeah.
and their family members.
If they're anything like my kids, they open the refrigerator and look at it. And I think I said every time you open it, look at it, and you open it and say Frederick Jones,
Yes.
and to just keep remembering who these great people are. And so that's what I tell the kids when I go and I do the lecture or do reading for their classes.
That's good. We can all take a note of that. Yes, we, the adults as well. So, and even with our cell phones, see, that's the thing. We be surprised at those things that we have created.
Well, I was
Jesse Russell. I'm picking up my Jesse Russell right now.
exactly. And he has to actually explain to people. People will literally ask him. I was reading an article that he had written. And these people will ask him, "Did you really invent the phone? I thought this person or that person did the phone." And he said, "No. Why do you think that I couldn't invent the?" And you have to explain to people that there was a analog and a digital phone.
Yes.
Analog people my kids' age may not remember analog phone.
Hmm.
Um, when you got that smartphone, that's a Jesse Russell.
That's a Jesse Russell.
That's a Jesse Russell.
Brilliant, brilliant minds. Pass it on, guys. Pass it on. You can definitely get it here at Morning Brew with Germaine. So, yes, every day there will be a Blacks in Fact in alignment with what they're putting out every single day. I'm
Thank
just sharing the information. They're not requiring that I have to reinvent anything. I'm literally just sharing the information. And Mondays, yes, Theresa will be joining us live in studio for her Blacks in Fact segment.
yeah.
Yes, giving us some tips and tools. Listen, treat us like kids, like we don't understand and we don't know. Give us some of those same examples so we can now internalize and learn ourselves. Listen, we're never too old to learn something new, right?
That is absolutely true. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Miss Theresa Merritt-Watson, thank you so much for your brilliance, for just having the idea of wanting to share this information with children, adults, with us around the world, because people are tapping into it. People want to know, not just us, Black people. People want to know. I'm finding that they want to know.
And I am ready to share it.
Yes, yes. Well, you will definitely be with us on Mondays live in studio for your Blacks in Facts segment. So thank you. Listen, have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank
And
you for me.
well, you know what? You'll tune in with us because we will definitely be sharing a part of you every single day.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Have a great day. And listen, we'll be in touch, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, guys, yes, I am excited about our Blacks in Fact segment. I am really excited about that because you know what? I'm learning. I'm a student sitting here in studio, and every time one comes across the screen that I don't know, I'm documenting it. I want to know more about it. And so I'm going to continue to share it with you. So we thank Theresa, we thank her team, Gerard, for putting the incredible images together, and they are getting it out there to the masses. It's that important. So once again, in the comments, I did put the information in the comments for you to click on. One, go get a calendar. The calendar it exhibits all of that. A lot of what we're talking about is in there, and you can have it in your house personally. Click the link. Make sure you go to blacksin hovpublishing.com to get your calendar. It's in the comments, okay? And then also make sure, remember, Black Tech. I'm going to show this again. Black Tech. Beautiful, beautiful book. Please make sure it's available. You can find all this on her website. Click on the link. The website is in the comments. All right. blacksin.com. blacks-in.com. Yes, make sure you go over there and you can just gain access to it all. Go snoop around. Yes, do that. Okay. And then, but let's go back into just finalizing and bringing our message today to a close. You know, the one thing she did say in regards to Matthew Henson, that he worked in a space that he wasn't happy in, you know, being confined in a space, and he knew there was so much more to what his purpose was. And when he found it and he got in alignment with it, guess what happened? Now he's someone that we're recognizing because he's now in alignment with his purpose. He was in the right space with his purpose. He didn't just stay in a place stuck. And so when I think about just even our message today, what are you carrying that no one sees? We have no idea the stress and levels of what he may have been carrying, feeling out of place, until he found his space and he thrived in it. And now we're talking about Matthew Henson today. All right. So let me ask you, you know, I like to always ask 2 questions. I like to leave with you in our reflection questions segment. So let me ask you this. In our segment today, hey, Theresa, she's sticking around, guys. It's okay. I want her to. You're fine, Theresa. So, but let me ask you guys this in our reflection questions. 1, what is something you've been carrying that people wouldn't know just by looking at you? What is something that you've been carrying that people wouldn't know just by looking at you? Okay, so yes, that is the first question. And my second question is, what would it look like to release even a small part of that today? That's like a 2-part question. Do you need me to go back? Let me go back to the first one. What is something you've been carrying that people wouldn't know just by looking at you? And the second part is, what would it look like to release even a small part of that today? All right. So yes, I'm going to leave that for you. And what we're going to do is get ready to go into our final sip moment. But before we do that, I want to just give a quick announcement that yes, TikTok Live. We have been trying our hands at TikTok Live, and you know what? I could say we made it through our first month. Yep, showing up. We made it through our first month for Morning Brew with Germaine, the spillover. Yes. And so if you are someone that's already over on TikTok, I am really trying to find my voice over there. I'm trying to find the things that people want to gravitate to. And, you know, I was going through watching a few TikToks, and it's very highly addictive. Yep, I'm going to say it's highly addictive, you know, because you could get stuck and there's so much information over there. So this isn't a competition. This is really just spilling over conversations, tapping into people, touching base with, you know, just finding your community in a space. And so I have fun. It's 30 minutes or so, and we leave it there. But, you know, you never know who you're going to meet. Sometimes it's good just to show up, right? You never know who's going to pop in. So, but that's on Tuesdays during lunch hour, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a quick spillover. So if you have a few minutes, just stop by. I can learn something from you as well. Okay. All right. So let's go back in to kind of wrapping things up. As we begin to bring it to a close in our final sip, I want to say that you are allowed to be strong. Listen to this. So, our message today, what are you carrying that no one sees? You are allowed to be strong and still acknowledge what's heavy. It doesn't take away that you're a strong person just because you're carrying weight on you. And when I say weight, I mean it could be like some of the things I mentioned early that you may be dealing with: financial pressure, emotional responsibilities, family responsibilities, career uncertainty, healing from things that no one even knows what happened. So that's weight, and it's a heavy burden to carry. So you are allowed to be strong. Yes. Coach Kathleen, what? Let me see. Hold on. I'm over in my comments real quick. Uh, DJ D Nice, this is set on TikTok. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the information. So, yes, over on TikTok, I'm figuring it out, learning, but hey, stop by, give us some encouragement, right? So I want to, just as we wrap this up, because today's brew was heavy, it was weighty for anyone that was out there listening, and it really causes you to just analyze oneself, do a deep dive journey within oneself. What are you carrying that no one knows or no one sees, but you know? All right. So if I could just leave you some words of encouragement, you are allowed to be strong and still acknowledge what's heavy. You don't have to pretend it's light just to prove you can carry it. It's not about that. It's really seeking out your solutions, the answers that you need so you can be free. So you can be free. So, Coach Kathleen, thank you. What I was just saying, he did a set last night on TikTok, 800,000 visitors. So keep going. That's encouragement. And I remember DJ D Nice started during COVID. COVID opened up a lot of opportunities and a lot of doors for people. People were being inventive, creative, and they're still thriving in that space. That's impressive, impressive. So, and you know what? It gives you hope. Just because things start small, never despise small beginnings, because you know what? You never know, like we're saying, where it may end up, who you may come in contact with, who you may be able to engage with, how your puzzle pieces can fit in with others. You never know. Yes, he did. CQ Club, that's it. And it's thriving. 800,000 visitors. And so he can meet them right in their own personal space. You never know. Sometimes all it takes is just starting. That's it. And for me, I don't look for the numbers. I just show up. I just show up. Most times we don't understand how all those numbers work anyway, right? But I just show up. And I'm glad that I do, because, like I said, it starts with me first. It definitely starts with me first. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for just chiming in, following, being a part of Morning Brew in the conversation. So you know how we do, guys. We sip slow. So check in with yourself. Start there first, okay? And give yourself permission to feel what you've been holding. That's huge. So like I said, on these devices created by Jesse Russell, yes, our smartphones. Click on the audio button. Have a conversation with you. No, you're not crazy. Have a conversation with you, because sometimes you need to just listen and hear you. And on that note, have a wonderful day. You can always go over to our YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, just click the subscribe button, click the follow button. So you can be notified every time we have a new Morning Brew with Germaine, which is Monday through Fridays. at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you could be notified so you can make sure you chime in, okay? And with that, be safe in whatever you do. And remember, when you have to just take a pause, take that pause so you can pour into purpose. I'll see you back tomorrow, Tuesdays. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Be blessed. Stay safe.